in a small village in Nigeria, there was a young and beautiful lady named Ayo. Ayo was very proud and sometimes she could be very rude. One sunny afternoon, Ayo was walking to her boyfriend's house. She was in a hurry and didn't want anyone to slow her down. As she walked on the narrow village road, she saw an old woman coming towards her. This old woman was her boyfriend's mother. Please subscribe to this channel for more captivating African stories. The road was very narrow and there was not much space for two people to pass at the same time. Ayo felt annoyed because she didn't want to stop or slow down. When the old woman didn't move quickly, Ayo became very angry. "Move out of my way," Ayo shouted. But the old woman did not move fast enough for Ayo. Ayo pushed the old woman and the old woman almost fell down. The old woman was very surprised and sad. "Why are you so rude?" the old woman asked. But Ayo didn't care. She raised her hand and slapped the old woman on the face. The old woman cried out in pain and fell to the ground. Ayo just walked away, feeling very proud of herself. She didn't care that she had hurt her boyfriend's mother. But the old woman was very hurt, not just on her face, but also in her heart. She felt very angry and sad. The old woman sat on the ground and cried. She was very upset and didn't understand why Ayo was so mean. The old woman decided that she would not forget what Ayo had done. Ayo reached her boyfriend's house and acted like nothing happened. She smiled and laughed, but she didn't know that something bad was going to happen because of what she did. A few days passed and Ayo's boyfriend, whose name was Tandi, came to visit her. He looked very worried. "Ayo, my mother is very sick," Tandi said. "She hasn't been the same since a few days ago. She keeps talking about a girl who hurt her." Ayo felt a little scared, but she pretended not to know anything. "Oh, that's terrible. I hope she gets better soon," Ayo said, trying to hide her guilt. Tandi nodded and went back to his mother's house. Ayo thought everything was fine and that nobody knew what she did. But that night, Ayo had a bad dream. In her dream, the old woman was crying and pointing at her. "Why did you hurt me, Ayo?" the old woman in the dream asked. "Why did you slap me?" Ayo woke up sweating and scared. She couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next day, Ayo decided to visit Tunde's house to see how his mother was doing. She was nervous, but she thought maybe she could make things right. When Ayo arrived at Tunde's house, she saw the old woman lying in bed, looking very weak. The old woman saw Ayo and her eyes filled with tears. "Ayo, why did you hurt me?" the old woman asked weakly. Ayo felt very bad. She knelt beside the old woman's bed and started to cry. "I'm so sorry," Ayo said. "I was rude and I shouldn't have hurt you. Please forgive me." The old woman looked at Ayo for a long time. She could see that Ayo was truly sorry. She took a deep breath and said, "Ayo, it's good that you are sorry. But you must understand that your actions have consequences." Ayo nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand. I will never do something like this again. Please tell me how I can make it up to you." The old woman thought for a moment. "You need to learn to be kind and respectful to others, Ayo. You must show that you are truly sorry by your actions, not just your words." Ayo promised to change her ways and be more respectful to everyone she met. She started to help the old woman every day, bringing her food, helping with chores, and making sure she was comfortable. As days went by, the old woman started to feel better. She could see that Ayo was trying very hard to be a better person. Slowly, she began to forgive Ayo. But Ayo knew that she had to keep being kind and respectful, not just to the old woman, but to everyone, to truly make up for her mistake. Ayo continued to visit the old woman every day. She brought her fresh fruits from the market, helped her with house chores, and spent time talking to her. The old woman, whose name was Mama Adi, began to see a genuine change in Ayo. Ayo was no longer the proud and rude girl she once was. One day, while Ayo was helping Mama Adi in the garden, Tunde came home and saw them together. He was surprised and happy to see Ayo being so kind to his mother. He smiled and called out, "Ayo, thank you for helping my mother. It means a lot to me." Ayo smiled back, but deep inside she still felt a bit guilty. She wanted to do more to show that she was truly sorry. She thought hard about what else she could do. That night, Ayo had another dream. This time, Mama Adi appeared in her dream again, but she was smiling. She said, "Ayo, you have shown that you can be kind and caring. But remember, true change comes from within your heart." Ayo woke up feeling a sense of peace. She realized that she needed to let go of her pride completely and be humble in everything she did. The next morning, Ayo decided to visit the village chief to ask for advice. The chief was a wise old man who everyone respected. She told him everything that had happened and how she wanted to make things right. The chief listened carefully and then said, "Ayo, you have already started on the right path by showing kindness and asking for forgiveness. But to truly heal the hurt you caused, you must seek to help others in the village too. Use your time and energy to make the village a better place for everyone." Ayo took the chief's advice to heart. She began organizing clean-up days in the village, helping to fix broken things, and teaching the children good manners and respect. She even helped in the village market, making sure everyone was treated fairly. The villagers started to notice the change in Ayo. They saw how hard she worked and how kind she had become. Slowly, they began to forgive her too. One evening, after a long day of helping others, Ayo went to see Mama Adi. She brought her some fresh flowers she had picked herself. "Mama Adi, I brought these for you," she said with a smile. Mama Adi took the flowers and smiled back. "Thank you, Ayo. You have truly changed. I forgive you from the bottom of my heart." Ayo felt a great weight lift off her shoulders. She hugged Mama Adi and whispered, "Thank you, Mama Adi. I will always strive to be better and never forget the lessons I've learned." Ayo knew that she had a lot more to do, but she was ready. She had learned the value of kindness and respect, and she was determined to continue living by those values.